Madrid Puerta de Almudena Grandes is the main railway station in central Madrid and one of the busiest train stations in Spain. Formerly known as Madrid Puerta de Alcalá, it was renamed in 2021 to honor Almudena Grandes, a beloved Spanish writer. Located in central Madrid, near Retiro Park and the Royal Botanical Garden, it serves as the gateway for travelers heading to and from southern and eastern Spain. The station is the hub for Avenue high-speed trains, Alta Velocidad Española. Major Avenue destinations include Barcelona, Seville, Malaga, Valencia, Córdoba, Granada, and Toledo. Also offers long-distance, larga distancia, and some commuter, cercanías, train services. Difference from Chamartin Station. Atocha Station handles southbound and eastbound Avenue trains. Chamartin Station handles northbound trains and more commuter lines. Madrid is the capital and most populous municipality of Spain. It has almost 3.3 million inhabitants and a metropolitan area population of approximately 6.8 million. It is the second largest city in the European Union, EU, second only to Berlin, Germany, and its metropolitan area is the second largest in the EU. The municipality covers 604.3 square kilometers geographical area. Madrid lies on the river Manzanares in the central part of the Iberian Peninsula at about 650 m above mean sea level. The capital city of both Spain and the surrounding autonomous community of Madrid, it is the political, economic, and cultural center of the country. This monument, erected here in 1935, was later relocated and restored to its original site by the Madrid City Council on the occasion of the 75th anniversary of the publication of The Struggle for Life. In this trilogy, Pío Baroja offered his first literary, political, and social expression of the Madrid he so shrewdly perceived, analyzed, and depicted. During the mayoralty of Enrique Tierno Galvin, March 25, 1985. Retiro Park, El Retiro, Madrid. This is a famous and large public park in the center of Madrid, known for its history, nature, and monuments, and is a designated UNESCO World Heritage Site. Covering over 125 hectares and comprising more than 15,000 trees, the park belonged to the Spanish monarchy until 1868, when it became a public park following the Glorious Revolution. Plaza Murillo. The plaza is named for Bartolomé Esteban Murillo, the great Spanish Baroque painter. The Museo del Prado, officially known as Museo Nacional del Prado, is the main Spanish national art museum located in central Madrid. It houses collections of European art, dating from the 12th century to the early 20th century. The Prado's walls are lined with masterpieces from the Spanish, Italian, and Flemish schools, including Velázquez, Las Meninas, and Goya's 3rd of May, 1808. Its collection comprises 8,600 paintings and over 700 sculptures. So we recommend deciding what you want to see before stepping into the museum. Diego Velázquez was a Spanish painter, the leading artist in the court of King Philip IV of Spain and Portugal and of the Spanish Golden Age. The Congress of Deputies, Spanish, Congreso de los Diputados, is the lower house of the Cortes Generales, Spain's legislative branch, the upper house being the Senate. The Congress meets in the Palace of the Parliament, Palacio de las Cortes, in Madrid. Edificio Grappama. It was originally projected in 1910 by architect Joaquin Rogi Lopez Calvo and built from 1911 to 1913 as a housing for the Marquis of Omboich. KM0. It marks the starting point of Spain's 6 national roads. The Puerta del Sol, Gate of the Sun, is a public square in Madrid, one of the best known and busiest places in the city. This is the center, KM0, of the radial network of Spanish roads. The square also contains the famous clock whose bells mark the traditional eating of the 12 grapes and the beginning of a new year. The New Year's celebration has been broadcast live since December 31st. 1962 on major radio and television networks, including Atresmedia Media and RTV. The statue of Venus, the Roman goddess of love and beauty. It was nicknamed La Mariblanca, the White Lady, because of its shining marble. For locals, La Mariblanca is more than a goddess. It's a guardian figure of fortune and beauty, forever tied to the heart of Madrid. In the middle of the Gran Via, at its highest point, is the Plaza Callao, nicknamed the Cinema Square, since there has always been the well-known cinema with a novelty and poster. Always full of people for being a central point, a walk through the city invariably passes by there.
Mamacita, vámonos de fiesta. Y ahora en mi corazón tú estás. Y ya no quiero a nadie más. Contigo que quiero pasarla. Mamacita, vámonos de fiesta. Desde que te vi, buscaba una así. Desde que te vi, buscaba una así. Y por fin te conseguí.
Isabella II was Queen of Spain from 1833 until her deposition in 1868. She is the only queen regnant in the history of unified Spain. Isabella II. Plaza Mayor, Main Square, is one of Madrid's most iconic landmarks. Built in the early 17th century during the reign of Philip III, this grand rectangular square is surrounded by uniform three-story buildings with beautiful balconies. At its center stands an equestrian statue of King Philip III. Over the centuries, Plaza Mayor has witnessed markets, bullfights, royal ceremonies, trials of the Inquisition, and even public festivals. Today, it is a lively meeting place filled with cafés, restaurants, and street performers, where history and modern life blend seamlessly.
Desde que te vi, yo me enloquecí. Buscaba aún así y por fin te conseguí. Desde que te vi, yo me enloquecí. Buscaba aún así y por fin te conseguí.
Mercado de San Miguel is one of Madrid's most iconic and historic markets, located just steps away from Plaza Mayor. Built in 1916, this beautiful iron and glass structure is a gastronomic temple where tradition meets modern culinary trends. Inside, you'll find a vibrant atmosphere filled with gourmet tapas and traditional Spanish dishes, fresh seafood, Iberian ham, cheeses, and local wines, creative desserts, and international flavors. It's not just a market, it's an experience where locals and travelers mingle, savoring small bites and drinks at lively food stalls.
Y ahora en mi corazón tú estás y ya no quiero a nadie más. Contigo bien quiero pasarla, mamacita vámonos de fiesta. Y ahora en mi corazón tú estás y ya no quiero a nadie más. Contigo bien quiero pasarla, mamacita vámonos de fiesta. Desde que te vi, buscaba aún así. Desde que te vi, buscaba aún así y por fin te conseguí.
The Gran Via, Spanish, Gran Via, Great Way, is a street in central Madrid, Spain. It leads from Calle de Alcalá, close to Plaza de Cibeles, to Plaza de Espana. The street, sometimes referred to as the Spanish Broadway, is one of the city's most important shopping areas, with a large number of hotels and large movie theaters. However, since the late 2000s, many of these theaters have been replaced by shopping centers. The Gran Via serves as a showcase of early 20th century revival architecture, with architectural styles ranging from Vienna's Secession style, Plateresque, Neo-Mujar, and Art Deco, among others. Gran Via is a historic and iconic avenue in central Madrid, Spain, known as the Spanish Broadway for its impressive architecture, bustling atmosphere, luxury shopping, theaters, hotels, and restaurants. Running from Calle de Alcalá to Plaza de Espana, it's a major hub for entertainment and culture, featuring famous buildings like the Metropolis and Telefonica buildings. Cibeles Palace, Spanish, Palacio de Cibeles, formerly known as Palacio de Comunicaciones, Palace of Communications, and Palacio de Telecomunicaciones, Palace of Telecommunications, until 2011, is a complex composed of two buildings with white facades and is located in one of the historical centers of Madrid, Spain. Formerly the city's main post office and telegraph and telephone headquarters, it is now occupied by City Council of Madrid, serving as the City Hall and the Public Cultural Center Centro Centro. Built in 1778 under King Carlos III, it was designed by architect Francesco Sabatini. It served as a royal gateway into the city of Madrid from the road, leading to Alcalá de Henares. The gate predates other European triumphal arches, such as Paris's Arc de Triomphe or Berlin's Brandenburg Gate. Today, the Puerta de Alcalá is not only a symbol of Madrid, but also a beloved meeting point. Puerta de Alcalá, rising in stone and light. The old royal gate still guards Madrid, older than Paris's Arc, prouder than Berlin's Gate. It stands where roads converge, a timeless poem in stone, welcoming all who enter the heart of Spain. The Temple of Debod is one of Madrid's most unique monuments, a 2,200-year-old ancient Egyptian temple that was gifted to Spain in 1968. Originally built in southern Egypt, near Aswan, the temple was dismantled and reconstructed stone by stone in Madrid's Parque del Oeste, near Plaza de Espana, dedicated to the gods Ammonius and Isis. The Temple of Debod lets visitors step into the atmosphere of ancient Egypt right in the heart of Spain. At sunset, its silhouette reflected in the surrounding water pools creates one of the most magical and romantic views in Madrid. Palacio del Senado. The Palace of the Senate is the home of the Senate of Spain, the upper house of the Cortes generals, the national parliament of Spain.
Vámonos de fiesta desde que te vi. Buscaba una así. Desde que te vi. Buscaba una así y por fin te conseguí.
The Fuente Rio Manzanares is part of the statue of Philip IV in the Plaza de Oriente in front of the Royal Palace. The fountain represents the Manzanares River.
Desde que te vi, yo me enloquecí. Buscaba una así y por fin te conseguí. Desde que te vi, yo me enloquecí. Buscaba una así y por fin te conseguí. Y ahora en mi corazón tú estás y ya no quiero a nadie más. Contigo bien quiero pasarla, mamacita, vámonos de fiesta. Y ahora en mi corazón tú estás y ya no quiero a nadie más. Contigo bien quiero pasarla, mamacita, vámonos de fiesta. Desde que te vi.
Started by Spanish interests, this monument rises to the glory of the soldier Luis Noval. Homeland, never forget those who died for you. Luis Noval was a Spanish infantryman remembered as a war hero of the early 20th century, died in 1909 during the Melilla campaign. This monument is dedicated to his sacrifice. Plaza de Oriente is a grand, elegant square in the historic center of Madrid, located right in front of the royal palace, Palacio Real. It was designed in the 19th century and serves as a scenic gathering place surrounded by monuments, gardens, and historic buildings. Key features: statues of Spanish kings, a series of marble statues representing the monarchs of Spain arranged along the gardens, beautiful landscaping, symmetrical gardens, and pathways ideal for a relaxing stroll with views of the palace. Cultural venues. Nearby is the Teatro Real Royal Theatre, adding a touch of music and art to the area.
Manos adelante, touch your knees and head down. Tocamos las rodillas y bajamos la cabeza. Don't move. If you move, you will die. I don't know what I've been.
The Royal Palace of Madrid, Palacio Real, is the official residence of the Spanish monarchy and one of the largest royal palaces in Europe, though it is now primarily used for state ceremonies rather than daily living. Built in the 18th century by King Philip V on the site of a former Moorish fortress that burned down, the Baroque and neoclassical palace features over 3,000 rooms and showcases extensive art collections, making it a significant historical monument and a popular tourist attraction. History. The current palace was commissioned by King Philip V after a devastating fire in 1734 destroyed the 9th century Moorish Alcazar, which had served as a royal residence for centuries. Construction began in 1735, and the palace was completed in 1755. The Spanish royal family continued to live in the palace until 1931, but they now reside in the smaller Zarzuela Palace. Grand Staircase. A masterpiece designed by Francesco Sabatini, featuring a dramatic entrance with a single slab of marble and an impressive bronze handrail. The other interesting aspect of this staircase are the two marble lions at its end in poses to reflect the ruling philosophy of strength and control practiced by the Spanish monarchs. In this hall of columns of the Royal Palace of Madrid, the Treaty of Accession of Spain to the European Communities was signed on June 12, 1985. The ceremony was presided over by His Majesty the King, Don Juan Carlos I. The Salon de Columnas, or Hall of Columns, in the Royal Palace of Madrid is a magnificent neoclassical hall known for its grand marble columns and opulent chandeliers, serving as a primary venue for official state functions, royal receptions, and the signing of significant international treaties, such as the Treaty of Accession. This historically important space, designed in part by Giovanni Battista Sacchetti, has also served as a ballroom and function room, and is a prominent example of the palace's rich artistic and cultural heritage. It was used as a dance and banquet hall until 1879. Every room in the Royal Palace of Madrid exudes an oomph. The best materials have been used to create its extravagant interiors. Learning from experience, the use of wood has been restricted to doors and windows only. There are a lot of marble, granite, and porcelain on the floors and walls. Several renowned artisans have their paintings and art in this palace. There is an exclusive Gasparini room with his decor dominating every inch of the wall, upholstery, curtains, and even ceilings. In other areas, you will find ceilings painted by maestros like Corrado Giaquinto, Giambattista Tiepolo, and Raphael Mengs. Besides there are several masterpieces from Goya and Velázquez that decorate the walls. This chamber was the room where the king dressed and received reserved audiences, so it should not be surprising the care with which Carlos III wanted to decorate it, commissioning the designs for each and every one of the elements to his chamber painter, Mattia Gasparini, whom he had brought with him from Naples. The porcelain room in the Royal Palace of Madrid is a significant 18th century room featuring walls and ceilings completely lined with porcelain plaques, created by the Royal Porcelain Factory of Buen Retiro in Madrid. Commissioned by Charles III, this Rococo-style chamber showcases chinoiserie motifs, including garlands, animals, and human groups, with a unique history rooted in the king's desire to establish a porcelain factory in Spain. In 1897, Alfonso XII gave orders for the three main rooms of the Queen's former apartments to be converted into a single room with the capacity to hold banquets for 140 people. Yellow Room is a private sitting room of Charles III, which contains part of the tapestries from his bedchamber and an important suite of neoclassical furniture designed by Jean de Dugorc for Charles IV. Isabel la Católica, Isabella I of Castile, 1451 to 1504, was one of the most important monarchs in Spanish history. In terms of accomplishments, Isabella I unified Spain through her marriage to Ferdinand II of Aragon, and she financed the expedition of Christopher Columbus, leading to the discovery of the Americas. She also completed the Reconquista, but infamously expelled Jews and Muslims and empowered the Spanish Inquisition. Ferdinand VI attached great importance to the magnificence of the royal chapel, decorated with a splendid series of frescoes by Corrado Giaquinto, the artist's first major work in Spain. The Royal Chapel of the Royal Palace of Madrid is still used for religious services and ceremonies today, including the weddings of members of the Spanish royal family. The chapel also houses the Royal Pantheon, which is the final resting place of many Spanish monarchs and their families. The Stradivarius Room in the Royal Palace of Madrid houses the Spanish Quartet and another cello, all made by Antonio Stradivari. The decorated quartet includes 2 violins, a viola, and a cello, with a second, undecorated cello also on display. The Royal Palace is considered home to the best collection of Stradivarius instruments in the world. The Crown Room is a specific room that houses the Spanish royal regalia, including the crown and scepter, which are put on permanent public display for the first time in July 2014. It is not to be confused with the Grand Throne Room, where official receptions and ceremonies take place. The Crown Room displays the corona, tumular, and scepter used in royal proclamation ceremonies and never worn by the monarch. Isabella II was Queen of Spain from 1833 until her deposition in 1868. She is the only queen regnant in the history of unified Spain. Isabella II. Designed in the 18th century under King Charles III, the room is richly decorated in red velvet walls, gilded stucco, an enormous design in the 18th century under King Charles III. The room is richly decorated in red velvet walls, gilded stucco, and enormous chandeliers. Giovanni Battista Tiepolo, one of the greatest Venetian painters, painted the ceiling fresco, The Apotheosis of the Spanish Monarchy, 1764. It glorifies Spain's power and its monarch. The thrones you see today were made for King Alfonso XII in the 19th century. Walking into the Royal Palace of Madrid feels like stepping back in time. The grand facades and vast square radiate royal majesty. Inside, crystal chandeliers, frescoed ceilings, and velvet drapes shine with timeless splendor. The throne room, with its dignity and power, is truly breathtaking. This palace is not just a building. It's a living symbol of Spain's history and soul. A portrait of the Spanish royal family, which took 2 decades to complete by artist Antonio Lopez, has been officially unveiled at the Royal Palace in Madrid on December 5, 2014. The Almudena Cathedral, Catedral de la Almudena, is Madrid's main Catholic cathedral and one of the most important religious landmarks in Spain. Located directly opposite the Royal Palace of Madrid, the Almudena Cathedral is a striking blend of neo-Gothic, neo-Romanesque, and neoclassical styles. Unlike most European cathedrals, it is relatively modern. The construction began in 1883 and was not completed until 1993, when it was consecrated by Pope John Paul II. Exterior. The main facade faces the Royal Palace, designed in harmony with its architecture. The cathedral is crowned by a central dome and twin bell towers. Interior. The interior has a neo-Gothic style, but with a modern touch, including colorful contemporary stained glass windows and paintings. The vaulted ceiling is painted in bold, bright geometric patterns, giving it a very unique atmosphere compared to older Gothic cathedrals. The crypt. Built in the neo-Romanesque style, the crypt contains more than 400 columns and is the resting place of many noble Spanish families. Royal connection. The Almudena Cathedral hosted the royal wedding of King Felipe VI and Queen Letizia in 2004. It continues to serve as the venue for important state religious ceremonies. Symbolism. The name Almudena comes from the Arabic word Almudena, citadel, reflecting Madrid's medieval Moorish past. According to legend, a statue of the Virgin Mary was hidden inside the city walls during Muslim rule and rediscovered centuries later, inspiring the cathedral's dedication to the Virgin of Almudena, the patroness of Madrid. Visiting Almudena Cathedral gives you both a sense of Spain's spiritual devotion and a view of how tradition and modernity blend in Madrid's history.